There has never been a better time to be more connected with your family and friends, and Google is making this very easy to do with their latest updates and features with the Google Home and Google Assistant. Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. I'm Brian from Automate Your Life, and today I'm going to take the frustration out of automation by keeping you up to date on everything Google Assistant related. Now there's also a massive giveaway that we're going to walk through here within this video, but let's get to the first feature. Personally, I think the photo frame has become one of the most important features on the smart displays, and Google has been working on making it easier for me to connect with my family and friends. In case you didn't know this already, you can actually request to change the photo frame on your Google Assistant enabled smart display, and this will bring up a near full interface for you to make adjustments. You can also swipe up from the bottom of the device, go into the menu, and actually try and change the photo frame, but you would need face match enabled, otherwise you're going to have to use your voice. Once you're in the interface for changing the photo frame, you're going to be able to select from all of the different sources, but Google has given us some reasons recently to use Google Photos much more than some of the other sources. Not only can I select to have two portrait photos show up at the same time, so I'm seeing double the pictures that I want to, but I can also choose from all of the different albums that we have stored in Google Photos, and they've added what I think is my favorite feature for Google Photos album. And you will have to go into the Google Home application and get into the photo frame settings, go into Google Photos, and when you're there, you'll actually see a new option for the type of album that you can create. And this is my absolute favorite component here because I can choose from the portraits of people I would like to within my home and within my Google Photos library. Now, this allows me to create what is called a live album, and the live album can be different per smart display. So you can really customize this throughout your home for different people, for different situations, and for just different environments in general. And here's why you might want to do that even more. See, you can navigate with your hands, and I've been doing a lot of this lately, and this is part of the real connection component, because as you navigate with your hands, you get three different buttons that show up on screen. One is the share button. You get the ability to favorite, and then you get the ability to archive a photo and basically not have it show up on your smart display any longer. If you have face match enabled, and that will take a Nest Hub Max, you would be able to do all of this with just your hands. But in most cases, you'll have to use your voice. If you have a Lenovo smart display, or you have a Nest Hub, or any of the other Google smart displays, you're going to have to use your voice, but then you can share and favorite a picture within Google Photos. Now, when you go and you share that component, this becomes even more interesting because you can pick from all of your different contacts, but there's another layer to this where if you set up your own personal contacts or your people inside of the Google Home application, then you can use the nicknames that you've given people. So for example, I can share this photo with my mom and it will actually bring up her contact information and allow me to share it. Share this photo with mom.
Sure, other or home. To confirm, share it with mama, right.
All of this from a photo frame feature, guys, and this is only one out of 85 of the must-know features and capabilities I've put into a new ebook. The link is below in the description of this video, so go check out that ebook today. I'm unsure if this is really inappropriate or just sort of inappropriate, but I've been sharing the Modern Family show with my kid quite a bit, and that's on Netflix here in Canada, and what has mostly been used to play this is actually our Chromecast device onto our TV. And so you know what, that's a great interface, but I don't always want to be sitting at the couch or having him sitting at a couch and us just kind of vegging out. And one of the great things recently to the Nest Hub and the Nest Hub Max is the ability to play Netflix. Now, you guys are probably thinking, oh, this is only US and half of you have already tuned out, but no, that's not actually the case. anywhere you can connect Netflix into the Google Home application, and the Nest Hub and Nest Hub Max are for sale, you can do this with your voice, and you'll also get gesture capability, all with Netflix. Speaking of connecting with your kids, which is a great and wholesome thing that we all want to do, but sometimes, quite frankly, I need to get away or I'm going to freak out, especially in this day and age. Now, one thing that I've stumbled onto that makes YouTube Music a little more palatable than Google Play Music, because, I mean, everything else really isn't working right now. But anyways, if I just ask for kids music, this is what I get. I mentioned a giveaway, didn't I? Well, it pays that you are actually watching the video and not just searching for a giveaway, because I'm not talking about it at the end of the video. Now, this is a Nest Hub Max. All of the details are in the link down below. You can go ahead, get entered, make sure you read those terms and conditions, but there's no restrictions as to where from us, other than maybe your government doesn't allow a giveaway in your country. That's your problem, not mine. I also did mention that we could connect more with our friends, and one of the ways that we're going to be able to do this is with our smartphones. Now, I know you're all waiting for dates on the Pixel 4a and the 5. The fact is, Google's playing this one very close to their chest. They're not talking about it anymore. I've seen dates in August. I've seen dates in October. I think both of those are possible at this point. So I'm not going to give you a specific prediction on the release of those, but I can talk to you about some new features that are going to make sharing a little bit easier with our Android devices. And there's a couple of reasons to look at the OnePlus Nord phone right now. And for us specifically, I'm going to use it as an example. It's getting a couple of different capabilities that we haven't really seen rolled out to a lot of other Android phones recently. The Google Messages application, which has a ton of great features. I mean, you look at the Duo video and audio capabilities, the full RCS messaging capabilities that you have within that, that's all coming to the OnePlus Nord. Now, the other thing is the phone app, and you wouldn't think that that's such a big deal, but when you think about Google Assistant screen or call screening, this is a big deal. So we're going to see this happen more and more with other Android devices. Something that I know all of the iOS users are going to say they've had for 8 years, but frankly, I don't care. Nearby Share is coming to Android, which I think is going to be a big deal for a lot of you. I've had the Echo Buds for a long time here, and I've wanted to compare to the Pixel Buds, but the fact is they weren't available in Canada. Now, the Pixel Buds have been made available in Canada as well as a number of other countries, so you can go and look at that. The other thing you want to kind of keep your eye on, especially if you're in the US, is a whole set of deals, and there's basically a new one every day here that Google is rolling through, and we're keeping that up to date. We're keeping you up to date on what those deals are on automatelife.net. Just about everybody I know loves their Wyze cams if they have one, and maybe that's why Google has decided to change the icon for a smart home camera to look basically like a Wyze cam. Now, the only difference in there is the Nest cams. They have their own different looking icon, and you'll find a number of icons have changed. My robot vacuum has changed, and there are many more different icon types for different device types. The other big change is actually the ability to set the device type within any smart plug. And while many of you are probably going, yeah, I knew about that feature already, there's some more depth to this that we need to talk about. So when you change the device type of a smart outlet to a coffee maker, you do a couple of things. Number one, you actually give yourself a new command, and that new command is turn on or off the coffee maker. So while you get that new icon as the other feature, you also get this ability to control your devices with different commands, and that's really important. Now, the other piece of depth here is that devices like the SwitchBot actually do the exact same thing. Now, this is a really interesting development, not something I've seen anyone else report on, and I think it's really powerful for those SwitchBot switches. Now, on this note, I want to give you what I consider to be a pretty in-depth trick in terms of naming gaming devices. Now, what you're seeing on screen are called the Yeelight D2 table lamps or table lights, and these are some pretty interesting devices. They have local voice control with Google Home now, so they're reacting very quickly to commands. But what we have available today is the ability to control devices at the room level. Then we have the ability to control devices at the device level. So, and I can say turn on all the bedroom lights, and I can say turn on this specific Yeelight light. But what I don't have the opportunity to do is kind of group items, or at least not in a great way. So one of the things I've been doing is actually putting a number in the device name. So I named these two bedside lamp 1 and bedside lamp 2. And what that allows me to do as a command is turn on or off bedside lamp, and both devices react in that moment. So it's giving me that group level control. One of my favorite and my least favorite things about Google is the fact that we get to look forward to new features and new capabilities. Now, there was a recent developers conference that was kind of secretive, and when I attended, I got to see some things about Shed devices or smart home entertainment devices. And there's a number of makers that are included in this, and a number of new device types that you get to bring into the Google Home application. There's also a new trait that is being included, which is the channel trait. So this goes on top of things like app selector, input selector, and transport control. So things like play and pause and next and forward, and volume capabilities. So not only can you turn on and off all these devices, select the application, select the input on a TV or on a receiver, you also have the ability now to change channels, or this is coming to a number of the devices. Now, I've tested this with Roku in my home. The app selector is not yet enabled there, and it's going to take companies a little bit of time to do this. But one of the most interesting ones was the ability for SmartThings products to come into Google Home, and we're seeing this deepen in a couple of ways right now. I'm a little surprised to see Google allowing this to go on, because I feel like it might beat them to market. But we've talked about the codename Sabrina Chromecast replacement dongle here that will have Android TV on it, and this device looks like it's going to hit the market really hard, and I think a lot of us are really excited. But there's actually some versions coming out with the Me brand label on them, and it looks like we're going to get both a 4K and a 1080p edition. Quick little PS here. Google Stadia's controller actually has Google Assistant integration on it. It's basic, but it's there. The Fitbit deal is taking a lot longer than Google wanted, but it looks like the Versa 2 is going to get the Google Assistant soon. And the other really interesting kind of businessy tidbit to me is that Google went out and bought a company that was producing AR glasses for Amazon, and I actually saw these glasses at CES 2020 back when we were allowed to go out in the world. But you know what? I saw those glasses there. They were an AR version of the Amazon's frames there. And honestly, I was really surprised to hear Google bought this. But this is kind of the second time, if you include Fitbit, that Google has started to cut off Amazon at the pass. Next, we'll probably see Google buy an autonomous car company, or has Amazon already bought all of those? That developers conference that I talked about also showed things like the Nest Protect getting integrated into Google Home later this year. It showed triggers with the routines. It showed the ability for manufacturers to create routines for us and recommend them to us. And all of this and much more is coming to the Google Home platform in 2020, but you should be ready for all of those changes. So that video is up on screen that will detail all of those new features coming. Go watch that, guys. Otherwise, thanks for watching. And of course, don't hate, automate.